Hello everyone, and welcome to my The Bold Fans channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Luna knew something was wrong from the moment ELECTRA walked through the door. Her best friend, confidant, the woman who had stood by her side through every heartbreak and triumph, had been absent for weeks. Text messages went unanswered, phone calls were brief, and ELECTRA's usual warmth had been replaced by a guarded hesitance. Luna had attributed it to stress, ELECTRA's demanding job at the fashion house, her chaotic family life, and the never-ending drama that seemed to follow her like a shadow. But this was something else entirely. Will is the father, ELECTRA continued, her voice quieter now, almost a whisper, as if saying it softly would soften the blow. Luna's heartbeat stopped. Will. Her Will. The man she'd been planning a future with, the one who promised her forever 3 months ago, when she told him about her pregnancy. The man who had held her hand in the doctor's office and whispered reassurances when she was concerned about being a good mother. Will was now the father of ELECTRA's child. Luna's hands instinctively moved to her stomach, where her own baby, Will's baby, was developing. She was 4 months along and had just begun to feel the faint flutters of life within. She'd been so happy and naive, imagining a future with a small family and Will by her side. She could only watch as her future unraveled thread by thread. How? Luna's voice cracked and was barely audible. She didn't want to ask or know, but the question came out before she could stop it. When? ELECTRA turned from the window, her blonde hair catching the light and her eyes brimming with unshed tears. That was a mistake, Luna. I swore. It happened one night months ago before you informed me you were pregnant. We were both drunk and it was stupid, but I thought it was nothing. I didn't realize I was pregnant until last week. Luna's mind raced, trying to piece together a timeline that made sense and would make this less painful. Months ago. Previously, she had informed ELECTRA of her pregnancy, before she even knew herself. But that didn't make things better. It didn't change the fact that ELECTRA, Luna's biological sister, had slept with the man she adored. She was supposed to have this man. Why haven't you told me? Luna's voice rose, trembling with anger and pain. You understood how I felt about him. You understood what he meant to me. Why haven't you said anything? I was going to, ELECTRA stated, stepping forward with her hands outstretched as if she could bridge the gap between them with a gesture. I wanted to, but I wasn't sure how. When you told me about your baby, I saw your happiness and couldn't ruin it. I thought I could keep it a secret and it wouldn't matter. But then I discovered I was pregnant, and I couldn't keep it a secret any longer. Luna laughed, a bitter, hollow sound echoing through the quiet room. So you have waited until now? Until you were also pregnant? Until there was no way out? She stood there, her hands trembling, her heart pounding so hard she thought it would burst. ELECTRA, you should have told me the moment it happened. You should have given me a chance to process and decide what to do. Instead, you let me build my life on a lie. ELECTRA's tears streamed down her cheeks. I'm very sorry, Luna. I never intended for this to happen. I never intended to hurt you. But you did, Luna exclaimed, her voice breaking. You both did. The room fell silent again, the weight of those words resting like dust. Luna remembered Will's easy smile, warm hands, and the way he looked at her as if she were the only person in the world. Had everything been a lie? Had he known about ELECTRA the entire time? The thought caused her stomach to churn, bringing on a wave of nausea unrelated to her pregnancy. She sank back into the couch, her legs giving out beneath her. What should I do now? She whispered more to herself than to ELECTRA. I am having his baby. You're having his baby. How do we deal with this? ELECTRA paused, then sat across from her, her hands tightly clasped in her lap. I don't know, she confessed. I'm not sure what to do either. I just knew I needed to tell you. I couldn't keep lying to you. Luna wanted to scream, throw something, and demand answers to make this all make sense. However, there were no real answers. There was only the raw, aching reality of betrayal, of a future shattered before it could fully unfold. She recalled the nursery she'd begun planning, the tiny clothes she'd purchased, and the dreams she'd created for her unborn child. And now her dreams were intertwined with ELECTRA's, Will's, and a truth she couldn't forget. I need you to leave, Luna said finally, her voice flat and devoid of the warmth that had always distinguished their friendship. I can't. I can't look at you right now. Electra nodded, her lips trembling. I understand. I will go. But Luna, please know that I am sorry. I'll do whatever it takes to make this right. There is no making this right, Luna said, her gaze fixed on the ground. Not right now. Maybe not ever. Electra paused for a moment, hoping Luna would say something else, offer some sliver of forgiveness. But Luna had nothing more to give. Not yet. Perhaps not ever. Electra turned and walked out, the door clicking shut behind her, leaving Luna to deal with the weight of her heartbreak. The days that followed were filled with grief and confusion. Luna avoided Will's phone calls, texts, and attempts to see her. She couldn't face him just yet. She needed time to process what this meant for her and her baby. She spent hours staring at the grainy ultrasound photo pinned to her fridge, which depicted the tiny life growing inside her. That life was still hers, pure and unaffected by the chaos of the adults around her. She clung to the only thing that felt real. When she finally confronted Will, it was on a cold, rainy evening that made the world seem small and suffocating. He arrived at her apartment, his hair damp and his eyes pleading. Luna, please, he asked, standing in the doorway. Let me explain. There's nothing to explain, she said calmly, despite the storm raging inside her. You slept with my best friend. You made her pregnant. What is there to say? It was a mistake, he admitted, his voice breaking. I was drunk one night, and I had no idea about it until she told me last week. I swear I love you, Luna. I want to be with you. I want our baby. What about Electra's baby? Luna inquired, her tone sharp. What about her? Well, what happens once both of our children are born? How are you going to be a father to both of them? For both of us? He didn't respond, and the silence was louder than any words he could have said. Luna closed the door, her heart breaking all over again as she leaned against it, listening to the faint sound of his footsteps down the hall. In the weeks that followed, Luna attempted to put herself back together. She went to doctor's appointments, painted the nursery, and purchased baby clothes on her own. She told herself she could do it, that she didn't need Will or Electra, and that she was capable of raising her child alone. But late at night, when the world was quiet and her apartment seemed too large, loneliness crept in, wrapping around her like a cold fog. She thought about Electra a lot, about the years they spent together, the secrets they shared, and the laughter that filled their days. She missed her friend, the person she believed Electra was. But every time she thought about reaching out, the image of Electra's tear-streaked face, her confession, stopped her. Forgiveness felt like a luxury she couldn't afford, especially with the wound still so raw. Will attempted to stay in her life by sending flowers, leaving voicemails, and showing up at her favorite coffee shop, as if he could wear her down with persistence. But Luna maintained her distance, erecting barriers around her heart to protect herself and her child. She wasn't sure if she could ever trust him again, or if she even wanted to try. The seasons shifted, and Luna's belly expanded. The kicks and flutters, as well as the quiet anticipation of meeting her child, brought her small moments of joy. But the sadness lingered, a constant companion and reminder of the life she had lost. She wondered about Electra, how she was doing, and if she felt as scared and alone as Luna did. She thought about their children, siblings who would share a father but grow up in different worlds. The thought broke her heart yet again. As spring bloomed outside her window, Luna sat down with a notebook and started writing. Not to Will or Electra, but to her baby. She wrote about her hopes, fears, and determination to provide them with a loving life, even if it wasn't the one she had envisioned. She wrote about the pain of betrayal, but also about the strength she was discovering within herself, a resilience she had not realized she possessed. I don't know what the future holds, she wrote, her pen trembling on the page. But I promise you, my sweet baby, that I will love you with all that I have. I will be your home, your safe haven, and your everything. And regardless of what happens, we will be fine. Just you and me. She closed the notebook, tears falling onto the cover, and rested her hand on her belly. The baby kicked, a small, fierce reminder that life moves on, even in the face of heartbreak. Luna smiled through her tears, knowing she was prepared to face whatever came next. She didn't want to, but she had no choice. For her baby. For herself. So she went on one day at a time, constructing a new future from the ashes of the past. It wasn't the life she had hoped for, but it was hers, and she would make it work. Luna stood frozen, her mind racing and her heart pounding as Electra's words echoed throughout the room like a shard of glass. I apologize, Luna. I'm also pregnant. Will is the father. For a moment she thought she had misheard, that her ears were playing tricks on her, but the look in Electra's eyes proved otherwise. It was not a joke. It was not a ploy. This was a confession. Luna's stomach dropped as her world started to unravel. The man she had trusted, the man she had let into the most vulnerable parts of herself, had betrayed her in ways she had not expected. Will had promised her love, security, and a future that they could create together. She believed every word, clung to every touch, and remembered every kiss. And now everything felt tainted. Electra didn't appear smug or angry at Luna. Instead, she appeared almost sorrowful, as if she was aware of the devastation she was causing, but could no longer conceal the truth. Her hands shook slightly as she placed them on her abdomen, a silent symbol of the life growing within her. Luna's voice became hoarse, broken by disbelief. You are lying. You must be lying. Will would never. But even as the words left her lips, she remembered the strange nights he had been distant, the times he had claimed to be working late, and the shifts in his attention she had dismissed as stress. Suddenly, the puzzle pieces clicked together in ways she had not intended. I wish I were lying, Electra murmured. I did not want this. I hadn't planned for it. But it happened, and I can't hide it any longer. The weight of the revelation crushed Luna, suffocating her. Her chest tightened as if the entire room had shrunk, leaving her with no air to breathe. She took a step back, colliding with the edge of the sofa. Her knees wobbled, but she forced herself to remain upright, refusing to let either of them witness her collapse. How long? She demanded, her voice sharp and trembling with rage and pain. Electra's lips quivered. Several months, before you and Will got serious. But it did not end there. I wasn't even aware I was pregnant until recently. I thought I could handle it alone, but when I saw you with him and how much you loved him, I knew I couldn't keep the secret forever. Luna's heart broke with each word. The betrayal was more than just a fling. It was about the overlap, the blurred lines that had deprived her of the truth. She clenched her fists, her nails digging into her palms, almost drawing blood. And did he know? Will knew all along? She inquired, almost afraid of the response. Electra shakes her head. No. He does not know. I have not told him. You're the first. That admission should have given Luna a sense of control, but it only exacerbated the pain. She now bore the burden of knowledge, the crushing responsibility of what this revelation meant for their entire lives. She wasn't sure whether to scream, cry, or run until her legs gave out beneath her. Images of her future with Will flashed before her eyes. Visions of a home together, children she had fantasized about, and promises whispered under the stars. And now everything seemed uncertain, entangled in lies and betrayal. The dream was shattered, and she was left with a nightmare she couldn't wake up from. She wanted to confront Will and demand answers, forcing him to admit his role in this cruel mess. But a small voice in the back of her mind asked a more terrifying question. What if he chooses her? What if he chooses Electra and the child growing within her? That thought alone almost broke her. Electra stepped closer, her voice soft and almost pleading. Luna, I did not want this to happen. I do not want to hurt you. However, the truth had to come out. You deserve to know before Will finds out from me. Luna snapped her head up, her eyes blazing with rage despite the tears threatening to flow. Don't try to make this sound noble. You slept with the man I adore. You continued your relationship with him, and now you are carrying his child. And you want me to do what? Thank you for telling me. You've destroyed everything. Electra flinched but did not give up. I understand. And I'll live with my guilt. But this is not about me anymore. It's about the baby. And what about Will? He deserves to know the truth. The word baby rang sharply in Luna's mind. A child. An innocent life entangled in a web of deception. A bond that would bind Will and Electra forever, regardless of their decisions. So where did that leave her? Her throat tightened, and she became unable to speak for a brief moment. The silence between them was thick and unbearable. Finally Luna whispered, her voice raw and trembling. You've taken everything from me. Electra's eyes welled up with tears, but Luna couldn't bring herself to care. She turned abruptly, storming past her and out of the room before her tears could escape. The night air hit her like a slap, but not even the cool breeze could calm her trembling body. She stumbled down the street, her vision blurred from tears. Every step felt heavy with betrayal, anger, and heartbreak. When she arrived at her apartment, she slammed the door behind her and collapsed against it. The sobs came suddenly, deep and unrelenting, ripping through her chest as if they would tear her apart. She cried for the love she had lost, the broken trust, and the future that had been taken away from her. But beneath the grief, something else stirred. Anger. Will and she both had choices to make. She would not let herself be erased, discarded as a footnote in his story. If Electra thought she could win just by carrying his child, she was mistaken. The next morning, Luna stood in front of the mirror, her eyes red and swollen from a restless night. She didn't recognize the reflection staring back at her, but she straightened her spine, forcing strength into her posture. Today she would face Will. Today she'd demand the truth. When Will opened the door to her knock, his face lit up with a warm smile that used to melt her heart. But this time she only felt cold. She pushed past him without saying a word, her determination protecting her from the tenderness he attempted to offer. "Luna, what is wrong?" he inquired, concern on his face. She turned to him, her voice steady despite her pounding heart. "You should tell me the truth, Will. About Electra." His brow furrows. "Electra? How about her?" Her unwavering gaze pierced him. "She told me everything. Regarding the two of you. About the baby." His expression faltered for a split second, with shock, guilt, and fear flashing through his eyes before he masked them with denial. Unfortunately, it was too late. Luna had seen it. "It's true," she said softly, more to herself than to him. "You did this." "Luna, please let me explain." He began, reaching for her, but she recoiled. "Explain what?" "That while you were telling me I was everything, you were also giving yourself to her. That while I was dreaming of a life with you, you were building one with someone else. How can you explain that?" His mouth opened, but no words emerged. He appeared trapped, cornered, and guilty. In the silence, Luna knew what she needed to say. She wasn't about to beg. She refused to fight for scraps of his loyalty. She deserved better. Tears flowed again, but she refused to let them fall. "You made your decision the moment you slept with her. And now you'll have to deal with it. But don't expect me to wait for you." With that, she turned and walked away, her steps heavy but determined. For the first time in days, she felt a shiver of control return to her. Her heart may have been shattered, but she maintained her dignity. As the door closed behind her, Luna vowed to rebuild her life, without Will, Electra's shadow, or the chains of betrayal. It would not be easy. It would take time. But she would come out of this heartbreak stronger than before. Because Luna understood one thing above all. Love built on lies was not love at all.